Oh yeah. Camera whips are one of the greatest and oldest transitions that have been used as a staple in the world of cinema and Hollywood. Whether you're aiming for a comedy or action or a horror or even a drama, if you get this right, it can be a very powerful transition and an indispensable tool for your cinematography. Now, getting this effect is pretty straightforward as long as you keep these 3 easy steps in mind. First step that you want to get that really smooth whip is shutter speed. In order for the whip to work really well, you have to have motion blur. Now, if you have the camera on a slower shutter speed, what's going to happen is that you're going to accentuate that motion blur. And what I mean by this is changing the shutter speed into something slower. So if I have it in angles, what I'll do is I'll shift it from 180 degrees to 300 to make it slower. Or if I have it in fractions, I'll shift it from 1/50 to 1/25. This is just another example about how you can use shutter speed to make the style of the shot that you want. Doesn't necessarily have to be 1/50 all the time. Alright, second step, very logical. You have to ask yourself, what style do you want your camera whip in? Do you want it to whip from one object to another or from one person to another in the same scene, in the same location? Or do you want to whip from one place to a completely different place? It all depends on what you want. But if you want to whip from one person to another in the same space, it would really help if you could sync your whip with the action happening on screen. So what that means is whenever the actor is actually doing the action, you have to sync your movement in the camera to their action. This can be made much easier if you just communicate it straight to the actor. So let's say you're filming one person throwing something to another person. What you have to do is to tell them to throw it at the same time that you are whipping.
Throw.
This way, you'll be giving the actors a cue to exactly move with the motion of the camera. Now, if you choose the second style, which is whipping from one place to another, or from one location to a completely different location, what you have to keep in mind, whether you film 2 or 3 or 4 consecutive shots that you want to just whip from and to, make sure you know the sequential order of these shots. Know how you want to place them in the film. What is the beginning shot and what's the ending shot? This way, when you whip out of the first shot, you know what direction you should take whipping in to the next shot. This basically ensures that the motion blur in both shots match. Now, another tip to add to this is to try and match the speed that you are whipping in from the first shot to the second shot. Try and always keep that speed nice and similar, because that way it just seems like a seamless transition and it feels like one shot. Now that we've reached the third and final step, what you have to do for any type of transition, and not just whips, is that you have to have a motivated transition. What's the point of transitioning if there's no motivation behind it? The worst type of videos that you watch these days, it's just like people zooming in and out and whipping next, right, left and up and down and just like doing any kind of effect and transition that they could do to the image. While this is all not necessary. You want to tell a story and you want each transition to serve that story. This is cinematography. And by linking the whip to a motivated action, you're already serving the story. What is a motivated transition, or a motivated whip in this case? Is doing a camera whip to follow on the action that is happening in the scene. So the next time you're doing a camera whip, use these 3 easy steps. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button. And until next time, CineStuff out.